What is your promise? Why are you in business? How do you expect to grow?
This is The Hook, a show focused on branding, marketing, and business development.
You brand to inspire, not to sell.
Jason Arsmont, the marketing maverick, gives expertise to business owners, serial entrepreneurs, and anyone interested in building a stronger company brand.
Creating a brand is like telling a story. You've got one shot to say it all.
When your marketing works, you've got them on the hook.
You found us again. We are The Hook, the first ever show incorporating marketing and branding. We talk about this every single week. We consider this a business solution to your everyday company needs that helps you increase your presence and your return on investment. This is brought to you by The Work Lodge. With Jason, we've done a ton for The Work Lodge already,
absolutely.
And they're very well represented on our page, thehookradio.com.
Yep.
My name is Josh Reno. I'm the marketing specialist at Brightbox Brand Marketing, and you heard him already. That's Jason Arsmont, the marketing maverick and CEO of Brightbox, the guy that gives me a check every single week.
You're welcome.
Right? Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So much going on. We've had a lot of great response by email, some questions. In fact, this kind of goes into the topic we're going to talk about more next week. I know that you want to touch on it this week.
Yeah, I mean, we've been kind of almost inundated with emails from folks talking to us about kind of questions around marketing and industry standards for the oil and gas, specifically the offshore market. So I thought what we do is a really kind of an interesting show. Next week, we're going to talk specifically about the offshore market, the industry, what they're going through. I know one of the big issues is this knowledge base of information leaving with all the senior level management guys leaving the workforce. And so what we're doing is we've got a couple folks on, Professor Jack Christensen from the University of Houston and Mark Peters from Offshore Magazine. So they're going to be in studio talking with us about the industry and also a little project that they're working on called the Offshore Learning Center. So it's going to be a really good show next week. If you're in the oil and gas offshore market, you're going to want to tune in and listen to that show for sure.
Now, that's not to take away what we're doing this week.
No, this is still a good show. This is a dynamite show right here.
A fantastic show coming up today. Yeah. I know that we have some guests coming in that are near and dear to me.
And me, yeah, some great friends.
I guess to you too, yeah. Because they work with us.
Absolutely. We got Gary and Kallie Valentine with ShadowBox Talent. So they're going to be here talking with us about the staffing company that they've built over the past couple of years and sharing some insight to what they've done to effectively separate themselves from the pack. I mean, it's a busy market space out there, and they've just done a really good job of kind of separating themselves from all the competition.
And the intricacies of what they do with the talent agency, you couldn't even imagine all the different areas that they can affect in your business.
Oh, yeah. Just the staffing, the recruiting alone, not to mention the payroll processing, all of the health insurance. I mean, everything they can help you do to be compliant and get all of that HR department done, writing employee manuals. I mean, it's unbelievable. So they have a wealth of knowledge. We're going to have the two of them in here. So you're definitely going to want to stay tuned for our last segment where we interview and talk with them about that.
We were talking about the oil and gas industry a little bit before that. That's coming up on next week's show. There's a lot to get into with that. And my brother was in town all week, and his best friend has worked for one of the big companies and moved to Aberdeen. Then he moved to the outside of London. Now he's in the middle of London. And he was telling my brother that it's getting to that point where he's getting a little kind of worried about what all is going on, and it just hadn't affected him yet. And I know that we keep hearing, hey, it's almost over. We're almost done. But every time we drive to the gas station, we're paying lower gas.
Yeah. It's a little better for us, but man, it's
20 years ago, I was very happy about low gas prices.
Yeah.
When I go now, I'm wishing that I'd be paying $3, $3.50.
Welcome to working at a Houston marketing firm.
Exactly.
We don't mind the high gas prices, guys, when your clients are the ones that are, fueling those pumps.
I guess fueling and feeling almost.
Yeah. So it is interesting. And I think what the scary part about it, we talk a lot about, all these older guys are retiring from the marketplace, the gray beard guys. But employee earlier this week asked me a question about how to be a better leader, and it got me thinking about our show today and next week and thinking about just the volume of leadership and direction and vision that's going to be leaving these companies. It's really interesting when you start talking about leadership, what that really means, how to be a good leader.
But you said it's a lot of older, gray. That's not the case anymore almost.
Yeah.
Although the leadership is more senior sometimes, it's not only those that have been with the company that long.
C-level guys, but I mean, there's leadership. If you're the one that has a lot of knowledge and you know about past projects, I mean, you're going to have some leadership in that role, because leadership isn't just your title. I mean, you could be technically below somebody as far as a title goes or a position within the company and still be a leader within the organization. And, that's where I just think it's really interesting. And so I was been thinking about that over the past week about what really separates a good leader. Is it a natural skill set, or is it something that can be taught? Can you actually learn to be a good leader, or is it really kind of more personality based? Do you experience any of that, Josh?
And what is your findings? That's a good question, actually, because I think that it does take some qualities, certain specific qualities, for you to be a good leader that you can't learn. Yeah. But there are a lot of things that you can better yourself with along the way.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like sales, right? Like, there's some people who just aren't going to get it. They're just not going to be a good salesperson. No matter how much training you give them, all the resources, all the tools, they can absorb it all, but they just don't have that personality that's going to, convey the communication and the message properly.
That goes back to a conversation you and I had whenever I first interviewed, where I said, I love this, everything about the job, but I'm not like a sales guy, right?
Yeah,
I don't do anything with sales.
Yes, because you do extremely well in that department. You open up doors. You're able to close business now. I just didn't tell you that you're a sales guy. You don't know that you're a sales guy, Josh.
You didn't even jump to it. You didn't say anything about it. You're like, oh, that's okay. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
But as time went on, I understood the value in being more sales driven for the company as a whole.
Yeah.
And it's not like you change into, okay, well, I'm now this sales guy that's going to do these certain things. No, your approach is different than it was before.
Yeah.
And you're getting the results for your client either way.
Right. Yeah. And as long as you're passionate about that, and I think it's very similar to leadership, right? Like, it's all about getting the results for your team, the people that you're trying to lead. And I think that starts with showing interest in those team members and making sure that they understand that you're not trying to lead out of your own agenda. Like, obviously it's difficult when you're running a company or an organization. I know all of my employees know that I'm trying to increase my bottom line. Right. And that's why I'm trying to get everybody on the same page. But I try to have that sit down one-on-one with each of our team members to really figure out where they at in life, where they wanting to go. Make sure that they know that I'm investing in them too, and that at some point they may extend past our company, and I'm going to be there to help them on to the next things that they're going to be doing in life. And so I think starting with that interest in them is absolutely crucial.
Then after that?
Well, I think from there it's having a clear vision. That's I kind of going through the process that I go through within my organization. I make sure that I'm vested in them. They know that I care about them. And then I become very, very clear on what this organization or what this task or what this objective is that I'm trying to do. Right? Because without clarity, people are just kind of wandering around in the dark. You got to be able to flip the light switch on and make sure that everyone knows why we're showing up every day.
That mission statement. It's the mission statement.
Yeah.
That we have in our office.
Yeah, we got to post it on the wall, don't we?
Look at it every day.
Yeah. So people understanding that we're not just here to make money. There's got to be a bigger purpose, right? We can't just be here to make money. We got to, from the receptionist to the CEO to the sales guys, everybody's got to know why we're here. And so I think clarity is key. And then the big thing after that I see is delegation. And we talked about this in one of our other shows. So go back on the podcast at thehookradio.com. Look for the one where we talk about delegation in the title. Check that out. Because being able to delegate, the skill of delegation is just crucial in the business environment, really in any environment that you want to be a leader, right? I mean, I ran across Texas and I didn't employ team members, but I had volunteers that came around, 10, 15, 20 people at times, and I had to delegate and assign tasks and objectives for them. And if I couldn't do that, we wouldn't have been as effective and raise over $200,000 worth of services. And it's just so the delegation is key. We did a whole show about that, so check that out at thehookradio.com.
Okay.
And then I think getting down to the last ones here, I think you need to be extremely confident. If you're clear in your objection and what you want to do, you need to be confident in it. You need to know without a shadow of a doubt that if this team does this, you're going to get the results you need, which then leads to a commitment. Right? An unwavering commitment. Your team needs to know that day in, day out, week in, week out, year in, year out, whatever it is, that you are committed to this space. You're committed to these results and you're not going to stop. Your foot is not coming off the gas pedal until you reach that goal, because you have to set the tempo for that team as a leader. And I think that's tough to do without coming across as jaded or, too focused on the goals.
By the way, you got to know what that goal is too.
Right.
You got to know what that goal. You got to set that as one of the things in there that they know which goal we're trying to reach.
Right. And I think that goes back to the clarity, and that's probably what we should have specified there. In that clarity, what is the objective or what is the goal? What is the end result? How do we know when we cross the finish line? Right? Are we getting bonuses? Do we get to party? What is it? What is it so that we know we did it? And then finally, you have to have gratitude. I think so many people try to lead without giving gratitude and showing recognition back to their team, and so you've got to wrap it up with giving back to them and making sure that they know you appreciate their time and effort put into the project. I
think that's one of the things, treating everybody as a human element to a business that is a machine.
Right.
Is one of the biggest.
Very cold at times.
Absolutely. It's one of the biggest things that kind of differentiate one company from the next, because if everybody's treated the same and you don't have like care and concern on what they're doing, then it just feels like you're going to work every day.
A good thing of that, go on YouTube, look up Simon Sinek, Ask Why, or What is Your Why, by Simon Sinek on YouTube. He does a great job of helping you define your why. You convey that to your team, and wow, unbelievable things start happening. So
that's Jason Arsemont, the marketing maverick. My name is Josh Reno. Coming up next, we got the brand review segment. We're going to be talking about...
I'm not telling you. Got to come back after the break.
Wait, is that the tease?
That's
the
grand
tease?
We did a tease.
All right, it'll be up next on The Hook.
I'm an Indian outlaw, half Cherokee and Choctaw. My baby, she's a Chippewa. She's a one of a kind.
Hey, we're right back to The Hook. My name is Josh Reno, along with the marketing maverick, Jason Arsemont. You want to cover that again, why we call you the marketing maverick? We talk about it.
Oh, it's an old store. I mean, it started a long time ago. Like most nicknames, I was, just one of those new kind of sales guys within a marketing agency. I wasn't respected as a strategist. And one day I just opened up my mouth in a meeting and started spitting out some strategy. I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs, so it's kind of second nature for me. And one of the owners leaned over to one of the other partners and was like, "Hey, man, that kid's a real maverick." And, obviously I was kind of like, yeah. And being a Top Gun generation guy, I was like, yeah, who doesn't need a little more maverick, right? So I held on to it. Marketing maverick it is.
Can we Photoshop that? Can we get you like
me in a F-14 or something?
Yeah, something like that. I think that we could put you inside the poster for Top Gun now.
What's even funnier is then you would be the marketing goose.
I'll be goose. Break my neck somewhere in there.
Let's do a brand review.
Yeah, we got brand review. By the way, if you ever want to catch up or send us your email questions or join the newsletter, thehookradio.com is the place to do that. So getting into our brand review segment, I know that this is brought to you by ShadowBox Talent.
Yep, we'll have a lot more of them to come. So
yeah, they'll be here
tight.
after a while. Callie and Gary will be here from ShadowBox and tell us a lot about them. So today we're talking about, I'll let you, since it was your tease, say who it is.
Well, it's a place that's very dear to our heart. They've got a location right around the corner from the office, and this is a place that I take my kids probably at least once a week for breakfast. We like to stop there on the way to school. It's Chick-Fil-A.
It's delicious.
It's delicious.
Yeah, their breakfast is really good.
It is good, man. They got some good stuff. The only thing I kind of don't like is the coffee. I don't know what it is. Their coffee.
I've never had the coffee, but those little like mini sandwiches with the chicken in it. It's like a chicken in a blanket.
Chicken bites or something.
I want to hug those and love them and call them George. Yeah, they're really, really good and kid friendly at the same time.
Yeah. No, I mean, they've got a great presence, and for some reason, moms love them. I think they've done a great job. Not just that I like going to the restaurant, but they've done a phenomenal job with their marketing. I mean, positioning with the cows and eat more chicken and, that whole campaign. And then that campaign basically turned into their mascot. I mean, I don't know if that was thought through all that way or if the campaign just was successful and kind of became that. But, I mean, talk about a phenomenal job on the marketing front.
And they brainwash kids because my kids love going there. Not only that, but with my kids' school, they go to Valley Oaks Elementary over in Spring Branch.
Yep.
One Thursday out of the month, they do a Valley Oaks Day. So if you go to
the
Chick-Fil-A,
or something. Yep.
They get a portion of it over at Valley Oaks. Gets a portion of everybody that goes in and says they're there for Valley Oaks.
So smart. Well, let's get it started. We're kicking off like we normally do. We go to their website and, man, to be honest, I kind of thought the site was a little boring at first glance anyways. Get to the site. I mean, it looks good. It looks like a typical kind of normal website. But at first glance, it just seemed a little flat, wasn't too interesting. It didn't have that experience that we always talk about, right? Like every touch point of your brand should be some type of an experience, some way to engage and captivate and get the audience to interact with it. And at first, I just didn't see that. It was only until I started digging into the website, man, they've actually got some really cool tools on here. I'm like, why isn't this stuff on the homepage? They've got the calculator, the meal calculator, so you can type in what you got or what you ate, and it'll add up all the fats. And
Yeah, that's something that's come about probably in the last, I would say, 5 years, because, and I think this was brought on because of Weight Watchers, not to go off on Weight Watchers,
okay.
but for Weight Watchers, there's that calculation
that's right.
of
They
what
count
you
your
eat,
stuff.
and
Yeah.
it gives you the point value of it, because it's like dietary fiber and fat and carbs and protein. So whenever they give you that calculation of everything, then you can plug it into your Weight Watchers app and find out how many points you use. So that's a smart thing that people are doing.
Yeah, I do like that. And then the other cool thing that they've got is if you go to step into our kitchen, it's like the main drop down off of menu. Man, it kind of goes in this really neat interactive video kind of format of a presentation. It has a little next button, and as you click on next, it'll scroll into the kitchen. It has a video of a lady making lemonade or whatever. I just thought it was really neat. There's a lot of video in there. Obviously, this took a lot of time. Man, I'd almost like to see the entire site be like this. Something where you can be a little bit more interactive. That, or try to figure out some way to engage the kids while they're at the restaurant to get online and start engaging with their website or their app or something like that. But yeah, so I don't know. All in all, it's a good site. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Maybe it's just the UI or the way they're presenting the stuff across just felt a little flat.
And the UI is?
User interface.
And that's one thing that we try to stress, is that whenever you're hearing branding and marketing terms, you want to spell those out for you.
Yeah, that's true. You know, and I think this is a good example, though. Like so many clients, they have a lot of great content. They have a lot of, cool features and things, but then they just don't present it well, right? So the user interface isn't what it could be. And so that's one of the things that we like to try to do at Brightbox, is really make sure and design websites based on user interface and user experience. So,
and curbside it's almost the same for every place.
Yeah,
I would
they're
say,
very,
right?
very consistent. Yeah, I really like that about their store. They're unique. The architecture is different. They're using different colors than the other McDonald's and Whataburger and all these guys. So they are very specific about the color patterns, and then just the consistency in the building. I mean, I kind of like this 3-tiered. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but in retail and really in kind of even trade show booths is where we originally started doing this. I like to have a 3-tiered logo presentation. One that's extremely high, so that if you're far away or miles down the road or aisles away at a trade show, you can see the logo. Something that's just above eye level, so that once you're closer to the building, something just above eye level will catch your attention, but the one that's extremely high might not. And then something that's just below eye level, so that as you get closer to the building and you start engaging, then you have those brand touch points in those 3 different areas.
Never thought about that.
Yeah, it works really, really good in the trade show world. So making sure that you have those 3 different points, and then, man, once you walk inside their store, or the restaurant, it's just, again, it's obviously it's a franchise. They, spare no money in doing the details and having little cool things with their logo and pinstriping and things on the windows. Everything's laid out fairly well.
Whenever you have kids, it's always great because they have those like placemats that you could put on the table, and they stick to the table for them.
Okay.
Which is always easier, because if you're bringing kids in there, they're going to make a mess.
Yeah.
It's going to go all over the place. But you don't want their food to touch the table, because we're weird germaphobes that way.
Yeah. Speaking of weird kid stuff too. So I take my kids here. I know, just like weird kids. So for whatever reason, I'm sure it's because they don't want to lose their trays, but their trash cans at Chick-Fil-A are round.
Yeah.
And so the tray won't go in there. But that means every single time my kids, they're a little bit older now, but when they were younger, I want to take the trash, Daddy, and they go over there and they just spill the crap all over the trash can and on the floor. And then I'm there picking up waffle fries, trying to throw them in the trash can. So I don't know. I know they want to save their trays, but
why would you ever let a waffle fry go to waste, though? That's
I knew
ridiculous.
you were gonna say that, man. Yeah. Well, so shame on the kids.
The other thing that you might not know about Chick-fil-A, Jason, I don't even know if you know this. There's actually a hidden menu item. And a lot of these places, there are hidden menu items. You can get the buffalo chicken sandwich.
What?
Yeah, I read that. On the other website that I'm on for The Buzz.
Okay.
We actually posted that. You can get a buffalo chicken sandwich. It's not on the menu, though.
You just have to ask.
You just have to ask. That's
Man,
exactly
one of those
right.
things. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask whether I eat it or not.
The other thing that you might not realize, whenever you order a kid's meal, if you don't want the prize inside, you can bring it back and you can get ice cream instead.
I did know that.
Okay.
Because I will eat that ice cream.
As far as the staff goes, it seems like they're very friendly all of the time.
Oh, this is where, for me, the magic happens with Chick-fil-A. Maybe we can talk to Gary and Kallie about this, how they've developed that culture from an HR perspective. But, man, every single location is spot on. And I don't care what part of the neighborhood you're in or what part of town you're in. It seems like they've got, like, the best kids. And normally younger guys and gals working there. But they have, like, the best people working behind the counter. And it's got to be something with that culture from the training that they do. It's just, man, it's unbelievable. That's the difference for me.
Outgoing, friendly, service, everything. Whenever you go through, and this is something that's different than a lot of other places too, they a lot of times have the double drive-in.
Oh, yeah.
And with the double drive-in, you can order right there, or sometimes they'll have a person, an actual person, taking your order and calling it in like that.
Yeah.
Or they'll have somebody giving you condiments after you go through the line.
Yeah,
there's always someone around there.
Because they're focused on it every single touch point, making sure that it's a positive experience. Maybe not the website, but every other touch point within the store. And I talked with one of the managers over at 249 in Loretto, the one right by our office, and he said that their goal on lunch is to get 100 people an hour through that line.
100 people an hour through the drive-thru?
Through the drive-thru.
Which is why the parking lot is so small by our location.
They're getting them out, man. Yeah, there's no hesitation. That's unbelievable. That's a lot of traffic, man. So I would have thought the two lines would have made it more confusing, but they figured it out.
Not at all.
They figured it out.
But it all comes down to how it tastes.
Yeah, and I think, again, this is probably another big differentiator for them, right? Obviously, it's more chicken-based than beef, and they've been able to run on the campaign that it's healthier. So I think moms have gotten behind it. It's a great place and their salads are good.
Everything is good that I've seen.
Yeah, and apparently they have buffalo chicken, so
they do. They actually had someone in the restaurant. They had a prize wheel that you could spin, and you could win items off of the menu. So my kids want a kid meal.
Like, I'm already full,
but that makes you, they do it like after you're done. Exactly, it's going to bring you back because they have the kids meal and the parfait that my kids are going to get next time. And they love the ice cream.
Yeah.
So there's always that. The food is fantastic. McDonald's, if you don't remember this, McDonald's about 7 or 8 years ago tried to put on their own chicken sandwich that was supposed to be just like Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, supposed to. It didn't work.
Never worked.
Yeah.
Just wasn't their recipe.
That kind of goes to that whole branding, and I don't even know if it's as much the recipe as it's just like when you want a Whataburger, like what that entails. You don't go to Whataburger and decide to get the chicken sandwich. I mean, I think the majority of people go because of what that brand stands for, and so I think Chick-fil-A's just dominated. They've done a phenomenal job. The only thing I don't like about the food is something with the coffee, man. Something's in that stuff. You get an even worse aftertaste. It's just something's not right.
Just eat a waffle fry and you'll be happy.
I would.
Those waffle fries are fantastic too. So overall look at Chick-fil-A, the branding as a whole and the marketing.
Branding and marketing as a whole. I mean, they're obviously right up there with a 10. I mean, 10 being the best. They've got to be somewhere around a strong 8. 9, maybe even a 10. I mean, they've just done a phenomenal job. Looking at the campaigns, everybody recognizes the cows. Their billboards are unique. Their commercials are unique. They're consistent from their website to the store to the locations. I mean,
family engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. And keep in mind, guys, we keep talking about brands that already do a good job. But look, if you're a business owner, go to these places and start noticing what it is they're doing. You can apply a lot of the principles that they are applying to your own business, even if you have one location. Just keep that in mind. This isn't just because they're franchised and they're, do hundreds of millions of dollars worth of chicken every year. You can apply these same principles to your business.
That's Jason Arsemont, the Marketing Maverick. My name is Josh Reno. On the way next on The Hook, your business tip of the day. Again, thehookradio.com. Check us out there.
She said, I seen you in here before. I said, I've been here a time or two.
Your source for marketing and branding, the first ever radio show doing this. We are The Hook. Josh Reno, along with Jason Arsmont. We call him Marketing Maverick. We explained that last segment. In fact, I think we've done it just about every show. So if you want to find out why they call him that and why he wears a cowboy
word for it.
You wear a cowboy hat everywhere.
I do not.
Okay, you really don't. But you can listen to the
We do have some
hookradio.com.
country music coming in and out of the segments, but
Well, you like country music.
Well, you know.
You're my boss. I make you happy.
I'm a Houston guy.
I got to do those things. All right, this segment we're going to talk about the business tip of the day, but it's brought to you by ontoboxtraining.com.
Ontobox Training is our corporate training group, and so if you're looking for culture development, management training, sales training, social media training, marketing training, whatever it may be within your organization, HR support, give us a call. Reach out to us. You can get my information at thehookradio.com. Shoot me an email. Let me know where you're having problems, and I'll let you know if we can help out.
We were just talking to a client about this the other day. Can I say the clients?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, GCVS, that is right down the road from here. That we're talking to them about doing a corporate training with them and putting it all together, which a lot of organizations want it because they want to get all on the same page.
Right.
So
yeah,
it just makes sense.
Sometimes it's not necessarily just like teaching them things they don't know, but sometimes it's also just, kind of solidifying a process or solidifying how they're going to start doing things or communicating something. So, don't think of training as just like, well, we already know everything about that. Yeah, but does everybody within your organization understand how to apply that the way that you want as an owner? And that's where we come in. We specialize in that. So.
Especially in the sales world, everybody's got their own ideas of how they want to do it. Well, let's bring them all together so we all have this common mission.
Absolutely. That's one of the courses that we really excel in with my background in sales and closing. So
we got something very exciting.
Yeah. So finally, the brand map, the book that I've been telling you guys about, is finally on Amazon. You can go check it out. Just search The Brand Map. And you'll be able to download that and get it there, or you can go to thehookradio.com and you can pick up a copy there. We'll also have a course coming up over at the Work Lodge. I think we talked about this last week. Mm-hmm. You can go to where can you go to find that information? Well, you go. I think it's on the thehookradio.com.
Yeah, it's already on thehookradio.com.
Yeah. So it's the 19th of this month. So it'll be week after next, and we'll be doing basically a seminar taking people through developing how to develop a brand, a systematic step-by-step process that unravels the truth about your brand, so that you can either develop a good one or maybe solidify the one that you've got. Which I think that's where a lot of people are at.
Which, if you're a business owner or you're a manager in a business and you want to see what this training is about and how we do things, mm-hmm. This is a good way for you to come out there and kind of check it out and decide where you want to go from there.
Yeah, this brand map that I developed over the past 10 years this has been the cornerstone of Brightbox. I mean, this is where it's led. This is what has led anyway to a lot of our success, from branding powerful brands and developing them, putting them in the market again and again and again, right? I felt that early on, what was missing from the agencies that I worked with in the past is that there was always like one guy, one dude that would do the strategy and kind of say, okay, this is what the brand needs to do. And it was kind of a take it or leave it. They'd go behind the magical curtain. We'd come back out. We'd give the client the brand. It was like, take it or leave it. This is the best thing for you. And so I really wanted to have a very transparent way that we did it, so that we could show clients how we came to this conclusion. And this is how we got to the point of what colors you should use, what textural elements you should use, your name, your logo, everything. And so it's actually on a map that you can write all this stuff out. And that map starts with the first kind of a ring. It's a half circle shape, and there's an outer ring. And that ring kind of, to us, simulates, kind of like known data. It's information that you can gather yourself. There's no strategy or creativity at this point. It's just kind of like known stuff, right? The left-hand portion of that map, by the way, you can download at thehookradio.com or get the book at Amazon. The left-hand portion of that, we're kind of taking you through an internal brand review. We're looking at your internal research. We're looking at how your clients talk about you. How do you want them to talk about you? So sometimes it involves doing a little survey to get their feedback and see how they're talking about you now, comparing that with how you'd rather they talk about you. And then looking at yourself and looking at how do we describe our products, our services? Do we categorize them? What kind of taglines have we used in the past? What messaging have we done? And so you take that information, and that's kind of becomes your internal perspective of who you are and where you want to go. And we've actually developed a thing called the 3 W's that comes from that internal review. And those 3 W's are who you are, what you do, and who you do it for.
I've heard this one many times.
Many times. Yeah. And it sounds really simple. A lot of times whenever I tell clients this, they kind of look at me like, well, yeah, Jason, that sounds really simple. Well, then why is it that when we flip through magazines or we see billboards or we watch, a TV commercial, that so many times they leave one or two of those W's out and leave you kind of scratching your head going, okay, who was that for? What was that commercial for? Or who's this ad supposed to be geared towards? Are they talking to me? I mean, it should be very clear on everything that you do from a marketing standpoint what your 3 W's are. And so we take that very, very seriously. Those 3 W's really drive a lot of the strategy into the next portion of that map. Over on the right-hand side, so that's on the left-hand side. We kind of take internal stuff, translate that down into your 3 W's. And then on the right-hand side, we do the external market research. This is where we're looking at kind of a competitive analysis. We're looking at the competition. How do they break up their products and services? What keywords do they use? Are there value propositions or taglines that they're using within their industry? And, Josh has been a big part of this with a lot of our clients. I mean, we gather a lot of this information from the web. I mean, so many people are like, well, what is our competition doing? Man, we got the internet right here. Most companies have put all of this stuff out there for you because they're trying to convey the same thing to their customers, right? What their value propositions are, how they categorize their products and services. And so we just do some general searches, leads to hours of research.
And then the other thing that I found works is you call them.
Sometimes
you call the company and you ask for information about their company. And they'll tell you everything that you want to know. Yeah. Because you have some interest in what they're doing.
Full disclosure, we normally do that before we're hired. So I would never call a client or a competitor after I've been retained and disguise myself as something that I'm not. But, if we're doing some recon and we know we want to go after, a Chick-Fil-A, I might go do some homework and call some other businesses within that industry and try to get a perspective on it before I go do the pitch and really kind of drag them in. So
I just say I'm doing some independent research because it really is independent to my own what I want to know.
Yeah, well, at that point it is. You're not being retained. We're not being doing any kind of recon or
Again,
dirty marketing.
That's what I wanted to point out. It's not dirty marketing because you're asking about that company and you don't have the other client in hand.
Right. Yeah.
So it's beforehand that you're going through all the motions.
Yeah, but that external market research really starts with that. It's making sure you understand what the competition's doing. And, I'll be full disclosure, this is really the only part of business where I stop and really pay much attention to the competition. I know my staff is always like, well, man, Jason, aren't you worried about what, the competition's doing or this other group or this other, whatever it is? And honestly, I'm not, because I'm confident in our business plan. I'm confident in our approach. I know I went through the brand mapping process at the beginning, and I'm going to stick to that game plan. And I know that really where a lot of secrets to success come is in application. And we're going to out-apply. And we're doing a great job of that right now at our companies, doing our own marketing finally, getting geared up and doing having a lot of fun with that. So that's kind of the competitive analysis on the right side, but then we also do an industry. Take a look at the industry as a whole. And this can be difficult, but it's very important. You want to look at weaknesses, strengths, and opportunities, figure out what's going on in the industry so you can kind of unbiasedly decide where you need to be. And then we take that external, the industry, and the competitive analysis, and we translate that down into your unique market segment. And this is extremely important. How are you not an Apple? Right? If we're going to compare apples to apples, you want to be an orange when you get into that presentation where you start pitching, or at least an apple that's painted orange maybe is a good way to do it. But so you want to look for that unique market opportunity. You combine that with your 3 W's that we already talked about, and you start having a powerful, powerful foundation for your brand. It's all in the brand map. You can get it on Amazon. Go to thehookradio.com and check it out. Sign up for the free course that we're going to be doing over at the Work Lodge on the 19th of this month.
And this kind of gives you a leg up on the competition too. I know one of the clients that we secured was with this brand mapping.
Yeah.
This happened probably about a year and a half ago. We went in, we showed them the brand map, we went through the whole thing, and they said nobody has done anything like this with us. Yeah. That right there separated us from everyone else trying to get that job.
It's been so well received. I've gone and presented at University of Houston, at Rice University. I mean, all these, really prestigious places. They've welcomed it. They've kind of solidified it, and it's been a huge success for us. So we're really proud to hang our hat on it and finally have the book out. You need to go check it out.
I think our guests are here.
Yeah, I see them in there. They're making faces at me through the window.
Ready to bring them in next. That's Jason Arsmont. My name is Josh Reno. You're listening to The Hook Radio. Up next, Gary and Kallie Valentine from ShadowBox Talent.
Heading down south to the land of the pines. I'm thumbing my way into North Carolina, staring up the road and pray to God.
found us. We are The Hook. My name is Josh Reno, along with Jason Arsmont. You can find us online, thehookradio.com, and we have some special guests in studio today. I have a story about these guys in just a second, but I want you to introduce our guests before we do that.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, so these are some great guests this week. They're very near and dear to my heart. We're actually partners in this company, as well as a couple others that we're trying to get off the ground. And so met them originally as a client of mine. Then Gary left the firm that he was with and decided to start up his own company and approached me, and we hit it off and started up ShadowBox Talent with he and his wife. So our guests today are great people, Gary and Kallie Valentine. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
All right.
And I'm always happy to talk about you guys because I got my job through you for Brightbox. So I interviewed with Kallie what seemed like 20 times. It was only twice. But it seemed like...
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No.
20 that seemed like twice.
I was like, I want this job so bad. I want this job. So I tried to do some research and didn't do research well enough. I came in, I was wearing the oldest suit you've ever seen in your life, thinking I'm going to impress them. And then Kallie walks out and... It's not that kind of office at all. It's really kind of, it's not that it's casual and laid back. It's that it's a more modern place.
Yeah. Our goal is just to look good.
Yeah.
You know? You don't have to wear a suit and tie.
And I was knocking off cobwebs from the shoulder.
Papa's suit you had on.
So whenever I came in for the second interview, I dialed it up a little bit. I was like, I'm going to make a difference this time.
And you got the rhinestone jacket out.
Yeah.
Well, I think Kallie told me the first things out of your mouth, first words out of your mouth were, "You must know me, Josh Reno."
Yeah.
You heard of me.
The marketing goose. The marketing goose.
So let's talk about what you do. Let's not talk about, I'm done. I'm
All
done.
right, so somebody give us a little overview on ShadowBox. Who wants to go?
I guess I'll go.
Go. All right,
Yeah.
Gary. Tell us a little bit about it. We've talked a lot about you guys in previous segments, but go ahead.
So we're an HR outsourcing recruiting staffing company. So we got really two sides of the company, right? So it's kind of broken up just like Kallie and I. Kallie's background is in HR. My background is in staffing.
Okay, yeah.
So the two silos of our business, one is staffing and recruiting, which is traditional contract staffing, contract to direct, and direct staffing. And then there's the HR outsourcing side, which is basically payrolling, HR, benefits, anything that goes behind the scenes from an HR perspective. We are doing it for small and medium-sized companies.
The people behind your people, right?
Hey,
Yeah.
that's the slogan.
And so that's your background,
that
right?
one.
Kallie's all of the HR part of it. So handling all of the kind of the headache of most of us small business owners.
That is true. I have been in part of large organizations, large corporations, and I've been part of small kind of startup type businesses. And we provide basically that HR team that a small business needs, but you don't necessarily need to have an extra employee or an extra team of employees, but you still need those services. So.
Yeah, I think it's so funny. So many times I'll tell people about the box companies, and then I'll get to the HR, and they're kind of like scratching their head. They're like, I don't really see how it fits. I'm like, man, if you knew, which most business owners do, if you know how big of a headache HR outsourcing is, or dealing with payroll folks, or staffing, recruiting, and having to find great talent like Josh over here.
Right.
Great,
right?
Fantastic talent.
We couldn't do that on our own, so it just made such good sense. And what I love about you guys is like kind of the culture that you guys have developed. And I know you guys kind of take that into the profiling of recruits, right? Of people that are applying with you guys.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all about making the match, right? It's staffing is staffing, as they say, right? So we got this opening, we need to fill it, but we go beyond that, right? We try to find out what's really makes our customers tick, right? What about Brightbox, for example, makes it Brightbox? What's their brand, right?
Yeah.
What is it all about? What makes them tick? And once we figure that out with our client, it's easier us to make that match, to find the person that's going to fit in. Josh is a perfect example. Not to keep throwing you in, Josh, but Josh didn't have any marketing experience when he came in, right? And nothing on his resume. But when Kallie met him, she instantly realized that he'd be a great personality fit for Jason and his team, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, it worked out. And that's really kind of encompasses what we do. It's not just looking at a resume and saying, does that person have the skills for the job? It's understanding what our clients want, understanding what our candidates are all about, and really meshing them together and say, these guys are perfect fit, and here's why, and explaining it. And to be able to sell Jason, right, the consummate salesperson, on why Josh is a good fit for the organization.
Yeah.
It was a hard sell, but it worked.
And she actually identified that right away. She said, okay, hold on. Because we got to a point in whenever we were doing the interview where you said, hold on, I want you to meet someone.
See, I did. I got up and walked right out of the room.
You did. You walked out of the room.
And I went, God,
I like
I found
that.
you. Yes.
Nice.
And you brought Jason in, and I honestly at that time didn't completely know that he
Like, who's
was
this kid?
the guy running the company and owning the company.
Right.
But it worked perfectly because there was, on one side, you have the culture of the company. On the other side, the personalities that are going to be working together. And Jason always said from the beginning, he said, look, maybe you don't know everything there is to know about marketing, and I can fill in those blanks. That's easy.
Right.
But this is what I need from you that you have. I was like, oh, we're
That
good.
is
Yeah,
true.
and I think that type of that understanding on what staffing really was is what got me excited whenever I first met you guys and we started talking about business, right? I mean, that's
Right.
I know so many companies say that, right? I mean, you can probably go to most staffing companies' websites. And by the way, you need to go check out ShadowBoxTalent.com. Check out theirs, but I felt that you guys really owned that early on. So tell us a little bit. So where did the combination of the two? I mean, I know the two different backgrounds in kind of staffing and HR, but like that's a big hurdle to say, hey, we're going to start doing payroll processing, right?
Right. Well,
Where did that originally come from? Because I think maybe you guys were already kind of going down that path whenever we first started meeting.
Well, it really started with Brightbox. I mean,
Yeah.
you when we were talking, Jason, you're like, hey, listen, we have these issues. We have this problem. We're a growing company. We're kind of bursting at the seams. We're growing so fast, we can't keep our arms around everything. Can you come in, do a needs assessment, figure out exactly what's going on here, and kind of let us know what we need to do?
Yeah.
And
So-
I think some
go
of it we also figured out, even in just kind of getting our company started as well. We kind of started to do the research for what do we need, and running payroll for the employees that we have, and researching for benefits that they have, and you start to reach out and started to find out that there's not a lot of people out there that are really helpful to a smaller business or a growing business, and so it kind of evolved.
Yeah.
That we started to help to satisfy your needs with Brightbox, and then
it's been
and
such a
our
good
own at
fit,
the same
yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I know listeners are probably wondering, so what is an ideal customer for you guys? I mean, do you guys take anybody? I mean, is it too small, too big at some point, or where do good clients fall?
It's not we're going to take anybody, but I think our wheelhouse is a company that we have clients that have one employee to clients that have 150 employees.
Okay.
So once you get larger than 150 employees, I think that we kind of lose that personal touch a little bit. I think our capabilities don't go that far because we really, technology, we embrace technology, but we really want to make sure that we have the personal touch with our clients. So whether we're on site and we have one of our representatives on site full time at our clients, or if they're calling into our office, our virtual office, basically their virtual office, even though we're not on site with them, we want to make them feel like we are right next door to them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's important. So you guys are, just to mention, are very hands-on owners. I mean, that's, you guys
That
are
is
in the
true.
work every
And
day.
everyone that you speak to, if you speak to one of us, you really are speaking to all of us, and we all work together very, very closely. I think the other thing is, though, that we can also service companies of all different sizes because we've gone in and done projects for companies that are a little bit larger than that size, because maybe they have they're trying to implement new processes, or maybe they want to create some new policies and procedures, or write new applications or things like that. So we do that type of work
Right.
for larger companies. But then those smaller companies, we're there. We're like going to the back office, your HR office,
Yeah,
and going in.
yeah.
and-
We are their HR
we
department.
are their
Yeah,
HR department.
no, I know it's completely changed our game with our companies having to be able to, being able to rely on you guys.
Well, a lot of our biggest competitors, you're a number, right? You dial 1-800 number.
Oh my
And
gosh,
say,
yeah.
hey, this is Jason Arsmont from Brightbox.
And they say, "What's your client
customer
number?"
number? Right?
Yeah, like I don't
And-
want to be a damn number, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So we saw that void in the marketplace, and we tried to fill it. And
Yeah.
so far it's working very well.
Yeah,
It really is.
And I know you guys are now looking at possibly going out and doing some acquisitions. and
We
stuff,
are
right?
in acquisition mode, 100%. Yes. So, when we started this a few short years ago, we've been blessed, and we've really had some great growth, and we're able to go out there and actually really look for companies that not necessarily are, an HR company or necessarily a staffing company, but a company that fits into our culture and our brand that we can kind of bring into the Box families.
Yeah,
For
man, I'm
sure.
so excited for you
Yeah.
guys. And then, for the listeners, you guys note a couple things here. They started off with an education, a background, and something that they were doing. They combined the two resources. They're two different perspectives, and kind of came up with a unique offering, right? And we talk about that all the time. What's your unique differentiator? How are you going to be different and stand out, and not just be an apple to apple in a comparison? And then they've just put a lot of work. They worked their faces off trying to put this thing together and building a real culture and a team of people that are just as excited about it. And you see that whenever you go meet with the staff and when you meet with the people that work for them, they're just as engaged. They seem to be just as intelligent. I mean, you guys have just done a phenomenal job of building a team. So kudos to you.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
And community outreach is something you also do, which I think is worth mentioning.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That is true. We try to make saying thank you back to the community part
Yeah.
of what we do. And so as a team, we go and volunteer together on a kind of like a monthly basis. And
Okay.
it actually, just like everything you do, it has actually helped us even more in return
Yeah.
to grow as a team. But it's really cool part of what we're trying to do.
That's too cool. I know we talk about that all the time, that philanthropy in business can really be an extension of marketing. You know,
Absolutely.
that if you're out there, you're
That's
talking,
true.
you're giving, you're getting attention, and you're getting in front of new
That is
people.
true.
So
Yeah, and you're doing it for the right reasons, not
Right.
not to do it for marketing, because you're doing it because you care and you
Right.
believe in the
Wait,
cause. and that's-
you're
that's
not doing it just to wear the cute company shirts?
the purple shirts.
they
Yeah.
do have
Some
some cool
cute
shirts, man.
shirts.
I like those. I like them a lot.
And that's what's funny about Gary and, well, Kallie for the most part, too, that every time I see y'all have that purple. Y'all have some form of purple somewhere.
It's almost
right.
like they've got a strong branding group behind them,
It
helping
seems
them
that
out.
way. It would appear that way.
Either that or you really love LSU?
We love purple.
I love
And
it. I
if-
love it.
All right, never mind then.
Yeah, we're
deal.
definitely passionate about everything
Yeah.
we do, including the colors that we chose for our company. And it's obviously Callie's favorite color, which has a big part of it. But it's really played for us.
Yeah, kind of sets the tone, right?
Yeah, and clients have actually, and candidates have actually commented on it. You know,
Many
I mean, not
people
everybody
have
loves
commented
purple,
on it.
but it's definitely part of our brand and it's part of us.
Right.
So it's very prominent. So it's a conversation piece, first of all, but second
sure.
of all, I think it really helps differentiate us too, because there's
Yep.
not at least from our perspective, there's not a lot of purple out there. At least in our circles that we run for our companies,
Yeah.
right? And our
Yeah.
That is true.
competitors. And
So you get to
whatnot.
own the
So-
name, you get to own the tagline, you get to own the color. I mean, that's what we talk about. Like a key branding
true.
element is like own as many different things in your market space as you can. I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, man, it just seems like there's never enough time. I mean, I know Gary and Kallie so well, and I know how much value they bring to you listeners. I'm gonna have to have you guys back on.
love that.
Maybe every other week or something we can have you guys on for a little bit. We're thinking about extending some of our interview sessions so that we can get more knowledge out of these folks, because that's what this show's all about. You can go to thehookradio.com and learn a little bit about us, but we want to contribute. We want to help you grow your businesses and make sure that you're a success and that it's not as daunting and as intimidating as it might seem.
Now, we talked about next week's show being a big one.
It is a big one. If you are an oil and gas person or you find yourself in the offshore industry at all, you are going to want to tune in and listen to this show. We're going to be talking about the market in general, as well as some of the changes and some of the things that are happening right now. We've got two amazing experts that are going to be joining us next week, one from University of Houston and one from Offshore Magazine. We got Professor Jack Christensen and Mark Peters from Offshore Magazine.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it. Thanks for listening so much. That's Jason Arsmont. My name is Josh Reno. You can always find us on the website, thehookradio.com. We'll see you next week.
It doesn't matter what I say, as long as I stay within flesh, it makes you feel love.